Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show.
Cup of Joe Wrestling Show?
With Joey Harris. A podcast for the wrestling fan on the go. So take your favorite beverage of choice and join Joey as he takes a look at some of the biggest shows on the WWE Network.
From makeshift studios deep in the heart of stately Maine Manor, this is the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show. I am your host, Joey Harris. Folks, we are back. How have you been? I have missed recording weekly. I had a bunch of shows already pre-recorded as we go into my busiest time at my work and missed a lot of stuff, but I am glad to be back. Glad to be back at it now, but missed a lot of stuff. So first of all, we're going to hit some of the high points or low points depending on your point of view. Marty Jannetty, that whole story, huh? Did he go off the deep end or what? The best at this point, the best that you can hope for is that the guy's just full of it, right? I mean, good Lord. Way to wake up one day and like, I'm just going to admit to a whole bunch of stuff on Facebook. Wow. And then our thoughts and our prayers definitely go out to the families of both Kamala, fantastic big man, made a lot of money in his day, was a great talent, a great performer, and a great character. That character, Kamala, that James Harris just made his own. And then, of course, this past week, losing Bullet Bob Armstrong was tough. And then yesterday, Chadwick Boseman, as I record this on Sunday, the news came out that Chadwick Boseman passed away after a 4-year-long battle with colon cancer. So our hearts go out to these people and their families, and our thoughts and our prayers are definitely with them on that. Today, we look at the July 1989 Saturday Night's Main Event from the WWF. This was Saturday Night's Main Event number 22, and it was shown on NBC on July the 29th, 1989. It was taped July the 18th, 89 from the Worcester Centrum in Worcester, Mass. We start out, Randy Savage and Sensational Sherry say that we are invited to a barbecue where he is going to cook the world's biggest hot dog, Brutus Beefcake. Brutus Beefcake says he's giving Randy Savage his summer special cut. The Brainbusters and Bobby Heenan say they are going to celebrate winning the tag team titles tonight. Demolition says that it's heating up and they sometimes lose their cool, but they always keep their heads and their championships. The Honky Tonk Man and Jimmy Hart say that after the summer comes the fall, Hulk Hogan's fall. Hogan should get ready to face the music. Hulk Hogan says the only music playing after his match will be Real American. We go to our opening credits. Vince McMahon and Jesse Ventura welcome us to a special bonus summer edition of Saturday Night's Main Event. They then show a video of Honky Tonk Man's greatest hits. Mean Gene Okerlund interviews the Honky Tonk Man and Jimmy Hart. He says a bunch of cliche Elvis lyrics and says he's going to be the next WWF champion. Mean Gene then interviews Hulk Hogan. He knows that he has a lot of things standing in his way, but the WWF Championship is his number one priority. WWF World Heavyweight Championship match. Hulk Hogan versus the Honky Tonk Man with Jimmy Hart. Honky Tonk Man tries to strike with the guitar early, but he misses. Hogan punches Honky Tonk Man down the aisle. Hart jumps on Hogan's back. Hogan smashes Hart in the corner, then beats down Honky Tonk Man before taking his shirt off. Honky Tonk Man distracts Hogan so Hart can hit him from behind. Hogan fights back. Honky Tonk Man hits the shake, rattle, and roll, but then he wastes a lot of time before pinning Hogan, and Hogan, of course, kicks out. He fights back and hits the big boot. Honky Tonk Man falls out. Hogan blasts him with the guitar. Leg drop and pin. Hogan must pose, even during the commercial break, as he does here. Jesse calls him a camera hog. He's still there when Ronnie Garvin, who's the special guest referee for the next match, comes in. They shake hands. They show footage of Ronnie Garvin losing the retirement match to Greg Valentine and then becoming a referee. They then show figurehead president Jack Tunney saying if Garvin keeps hitting wrestlers, he'll be suspended from being a referee. Greg Valentine versus Jimmy Snuka. Ronnie Garvin is the special guest referee. Valentine in control early. Snuka coming back. Snuka knocked outside by Valentine, who keeps interrupting Garvin's count by hitting Snuka as he comes back in. Garvin and Valentine get into a shoving match. Garvin punches Valentine, and Jesse goes ballistic. Snuka hits the Superfly to win. Video of Brutus Beefcake and Sensational Sherry on the Brother Love show. Randy Savage attacks Beefcake and cuts his hair. Jesse interviews Randy Savage and Sensational Sherry. Savage says Beefcake insulted Sherry, and Savage had to cut Beefcake's hair. The match tonight is for Savage because he wants Hulk Hogan to recognize him as the #1 contender. Savage then says he has a surprise for tonight. Mean Gene interviews Brutus Beefcake. He says it's scary, Sherry, and that he's a cut above the rest. Randy Savage with Sensational Sherry versus Brutus Beefcake. Beefcake takes out the clippers to keep everyone away to start. Beefcake goes after Sherry. He gets cut off by Savage. Both men have their working shoes on tonight. Savage is as good as usual, but Beefcake is also really working hard. Savage puts Sherry between him and Beefcake when it goes outside. Sherry is so good at her job as this is the era when she is doing her best work. There are some close 2 counts. Sherry takes a nylon off to choke Beefcake with it. Sherry holds Beefcake, who ducks, and Savage takes Sherry out. The crowd has been into this match. Savage's back dropped out of the ring. He sends Sherry to the back to get Zeus. The match continues. Zeus comes to ringside. Beefcake puts the sleeper on Savage as Zeus comes into the ring. He attacks Beefcake for the disqualification, then puts the bear hug on him. Hulk Hogan comes to the ring. His attack does nothing to Zeus, who then bear hugs Hogan. All 4 start brawling. Hogan hits Zeus with a chair, but can't drop him. The heels finally leave. Jesse interviews Savage, Sherry, and Zeus. They say Hogan will rue the day that he stepped into the cauldron of madness. He and Zeus definitely need decaf. 2 out of 3 falls match for the WWF World Tag Team Championship. Demolition, Axe and Smash versus the Brainbusters, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard with Bobby Heenan. They flash back to the last Saturday night's main event match between the 2 teams. Mean Gene interviews Demolition. This is going to be their greatest victory. It's D-Day, and the D stands for Demolition. I don't care what anybody says, Demolition have cool music, even 30 years later. First fall, Blanchard bounces around for both members of Demolition. The Brainbusters are double teaming. Demolition do some double teaming of their own. Back and forth. Anderson hits his patented spine buster. Smash hits a stun gun on Anderson to get the first fall. Second fall, Demolition still in control. Brainbusters coming back. Heenan gets run into the corner post and taken out. Demolition does the Demolition decapitation on Blanchard, but won't get out of the ring, so the Brainbusters win their second fall by disqualification. Andre the Giant then comes to ringside. Third fall, even pace to start. Blanchard and Smash both tagged in. Referee gets distracted and Andre throws a chair in. Blanchard just nails Smash with it. There's no way that this chair shot was not unprotected in any way. This was legit. He was knocked out. Anderson covers him for the pin, and we have new champions. Jesse is in the Heenan family locker room. Rick Rude and Haku are there, and there's much celebration when the Brainbusters and Bobby Heenan get back. Mean Gene interviews Brutus Beefcake and Hulk Hogan. They say they don't have to justify to Mean Gene their actions. They don't know what is going to happen coming up. It gets dark at one point while Beefcake says he's willing to bring the whole building down. Vince and Jesse close the show and say goodnight from Worcester. If you like this show, folks, please leave a review in iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or your podcast platform of choice. There are a number of ways that you can contact me. You can follow the show's Twitter at Cup of Joe Pod. You can email the show at cupofjoewrestlingshow@gmail.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at @TheJoeyHarris. Thank you for joining me this week. This is Joey Harris saying so long from stately Maine Manor.
The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show is a production of Baby Kangaroo Media.